Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom nestled between towering mountains and lush valleys, there ruled a wise and beloved king named Amma. Known for his fairness and generosity, King Amma had led his people through years of peace and prosperity. However, despite his many virtues, he had one flaw: a growing pride in his accomplishments. He began to believe that his wisdom and strength alone were responsible for the kingdom's success. One day, a sage arrived at the palace. He was old, with a long white beard and a calm demeanor that commanded respect. The king welcomed the sage warmly, eager to hear words of praise or perhaps to seek his counsel on matters of state. Instead, the sage presented the king with a single golden apple and said, "Your Majesty, this apple has the power to reveal the greatest truth of life, but it will only do so when you're truly ready." Intrigued, King Amma placed the apple in his royal chamber, confident that he would soon discover its secrets. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, yet the apple remained an enigma. The king consulted his advisors, scholars, and even foreign dignitaries, but no one could unlock the apple's mystery. Frustrated, the king began to grow more distant, spending hours alone with the apple, searching for answers. His pride, once a source of strength, had become a burden, clouding his judgment and alienating him from his people. One evening, while walking through the palace gardens, King Amma noticed an old gardener tending to the plants. The man was hunched with age, yet his hands moved skillfully, bringing life to the flowers and trees. The king watched as the gardener carefully pruned the rose bunch, removing dead leaves and branches. Curious, the king approached him. "Old man," he said, "you have tended these gardens for many years. Tell me, what is the secret to making these flowers bloom so beautifully?" The gardener looked up, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Your Majesty," he replied, "the secret is not in what I do, but in what I do not do. I cannot force the flowers to bloom, nor can I control the sun or the rain. My role is simply to care for them, to provide what they need, and then to step back and let nature take its course." The king was struck by the simplicity and humility of the gardener's word. He realized that, just like the gardener, his role as king was not to control everything, but to serve his people, to provide for them, and to trust in the natural order of life. That night, King Amma returned to his chamber and picked up the golden apple. For the first time, he saw it not as a puzzle to be solved, but as a symbol of humility he had forgotten. As he held the apple, it suddenly split open, revealing a small scroll inside. On the scroll were the words, "True greatness lies in humility." From that day forward, King Amma ruled with a renewed sense of purpose. He sought the counsel of his advisors, listened to the needs of his people, and recognized that his strength as a leader came not from his own ability, but from the collective wisdom and efforts of all those around him. The kingdom continued to prosper, and King Amma was remembered not only for his wisdom, but his humility, a lesson that was passed down through generations. This story teaches us to be humble in every sphere of life that we find ourselves. We must always understand that our strength and wisdom is not the major reason why we prosper in what we do, but the single force of God that backs us up. This story should teach you something about humility. I believe you've learned. Thank you very much for watching.
Please subscribe, like, and comment.